Today I want to talk about how many Linux distributions exist out there, but first I wanted to introduce you to this amazing mapping of Linux distributions through time. Some great people here who have contributed and created this timeline for us. It gives us a massive overview of all the various different Linux distributions that exist and where they actually stem from and if they even exist today. There's many different distributions on here. We're not going to be covering everything, but I do want to cover some of the major distributions and get a little history behind them. As you can tell, this map, really like a mind map, I'll put a link in the description below so you can check it out yourself in more depth, has so many distributions that have fed off of each other, all for various different use cases, some of them more known to us than others, with more and more being developed every single day. There is a site for following what distributions are being released, and if you're unaware of it, it's called distrowatch.com. It shows many distributions in which you can read summaries about, get information on, etc. And according to DistroWatch, there's around 272 distributions that they're currently active and following, which is nowhere close to the amount that's in the timeline. That's because a lot of these projects have gone stale. Anyways, back to the top, where we can first start out by talking a little bit about this distribution right here called Slackware. There's a logo here because it is a significant Linux distribution. What's also nice about this is it's also a timeline, meaning if you look up and above the dot where things are located, that shows you what year the particular Linux distribution on here was released, which is correct in 93. Slackware Linux here seen with a KDE Plasma desktop, and 15 is a distribution created by Patrick Volker in 93, originally based off of SLS or Soft Landing Linux System. Slackware can be thought of as one of the very first notable SUSE-based Linux distributions and is the oldest distribution that's currently still maintained. You can still get Slackware Linux. You can check it out today at slackware.com. They have some funny stuff on there as well. What's most notably known as propaganda on the website. There are tons of logos, stickers, and designs for Slackware. The key features here include simplicity for its operating system users, stability, and is mainly geared towards experienced users who prioritize stability over features, so kind of ideal for servers, but not so beginner friendly. That's why we have other Linux distributions, because if you have a specific use case, there's probably a specific Linux distribution for you. Let's get back to the timeline and talk about some of the big names that have come in from Slackware, including SUSE, which is down here. Here's another popular Linux distribution, which later led to a community-driven effort called OpenSouza, which is an open source commercial Linux enterprise distribution or operating system. This is one of the first Linux enterprise rated operating systems. The relationship here between SUSE Linux and OpenSouza is similar to what we know of Red Hat and Fedora today. Basically, SUSE Linux Enterprise is the commercial version, which is focused on enterprise Linux, and then OpenSouza serves a community-driven effort and is the open source equivalent. Still to this day, SUSE and OpenSouza still exist, including new offerings at OpenSouza called Leap. Here's a desktop environment running their Leap edition. So here's where you can kind of see that tree. So SUSE Linux with a rename, with another rename, and finally OpenSouza coming out of SUSE Linux. There's also a ton of other distributions that were forked off of SUSE Linux as well, all kind of focusing around the Linux enterprise space. So you might be confused as to what is meant by Linux enterprise, and today the biggest name in the game is probably Red Hat, which also is one of the most predominant examples of Linux enterprise distribution that's really known for things like long-term support, enterprise level security, comprehensive management tools. These types of distributions tend to have also certifications and compliance measures, and finally, of course, enterprise support. That's really what makes these large-scale, stable, scalable, and well-supported platforms really for business and organizations to build and deploy IT infrastructure. Red Hat is a big name in the game, but has also spawned many different distributions itself, including being named Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and spawning many different distributions itself from the likes of Oracle Linux, CentOS, Rocky Linux, Alma Linux, all having stemmed from Red Hat. And a lot of us know the Giant as a leading provider of open source enterprise grade level software products and services nowadays, and recently sold over to IBM. It became a conglomerate in the open source world, offering enterprise grade solutions and services while offering a lot of support for Linux, industrial, and enterprise systems. Yes, that's right. Linux has made companies billions of dollars. Now I want to talk about one of the most popular Linux distributions today. You won't spend much time in the Linux community without someone telling you that they're using it, so make sure to smash that like button, as I use Arch Linux, by the way, another very notable Linux distribution known for its rolling release model, focused on making sure that its users receive continuous updates. It's focused on minimalism and giving the user customizability, and offering one of the best package management systems, Pacman, which is efficient and simple and has one of the largest software repositories and even third-party sources for packages in the world. With I use Arch, by the way, prominently displayed somewhere on the screen, you'd hope. But the overall combination of the rolling release model, extensive documentation, active community, and the way that Linux enthusiasts can control this Linux distribution makes for great performance and a favorite among Linux users. Now, Arch Linux hasn't spawned quite as many notable distributions except for Manjaro, which we'll get into for a moment, but there have been things like Black Arch, which is a security and pen testing distribution. There are some other big names, and some I'm sure you've never heard of, but we're going to spend a second talking about Manjaro. This is another Arch-based Linux distribution, but what's nice about Manjaro, it removes the barrier of entry to Arch, especially for beginners, as it helps you manually partition, configure, and use graphical package selection, providing a more user-friendly way to install Arch Linux in a pre-configured desktop environment, accessible to users who might find Arch Linux's installation process a little daunting. It's also stable, a great community and support. Overall, many similarities here between Arch Linux. You just don't have as much customizability because you aren't installing everything from scratch. With nowadays, Arch Linux is not too bad to install because there's easy scripts to follow. But this is what Manjaro looks like right off the bat. Another popular choice for Linux users who appreciate the benefits of Arch Linux but prefer a more approachable use and a less hassle-free experience. A lot of these Linux distributions that we're covering are some of the most used distros. We're going to get to the number of how many distributions there are mapped out in this mind map of Linux. You'll definitely want to check it out yourself. Maybe there's some that you want to explore. It's a great resource. Again, thanks to all the people who have contributed to this mind map for us. It is quite a great comprehensive list of distributions. For those of you who haven't heard of Enoch Linux, that exists too, which has an educational focus. We also want to talk about an even more highly customizable source distro called Gentu. This here is a source-based distribution, meaning anything you install has to be compiled from source code, making it much more difficult for users to install and use, but offers the maximum flexibility and customization features that allow users to optimize their software and hardware requirements. This is one of the most custom Linux distribution options out there. You have to build things such as the kernel, system libraries, desktop environments, software packages directly from the source. There is a package manager called Portage, which automatically downloads, compiles, and installs software from source code and helps you maintain dependencies and system configuration at a maximum. Gentu really focuses on performance and optimizations, but we still need to talk about two of the most used Linux distributions, and probably the one that has spawned the most Linux sub-distributions. It's Debian. Debian also goes back as far as 93, with its first stable version actually getting released on June 17 of 96. This is one of the most popular distributions out there and has spawned several hundred distributions, all focused around stability and reliability, a wonderful package management system called apt, which a ton of Linux distributions use to this day. There's an amazing wide range of software available under this Linux distribution, including a great community which is lively and active and has remained that way for decades now. The security is top-notch and is a complete focus. Again, stability is probably the capstone here and at the forefront of everything Debian. Another important thing is compatibility and portability offered, meaning you can use it on multiple hardware architectures, including things like x86, ARM, PowerPC, and many more. This broad hardware support, combined with the flexibility, makes it suitable for a wide range of devices. And finally, its strict adherence to FOSS, or free and open source, is another capstone. It strictly adheres to the DFSG, or Debian Free Software Guidelines, ensuring that all software in Debian's repositories are built around the principles where Debian still stands today. Basically, the freedom and openness attracts users from all around and is overall a very wonderful, strong choice for operating system users. But we can't get away without talking about something that actually came from Debian, which is the most popular Linux distribution and has been for quite a while now. That's right, we're talking Ubuntu. If you've searched Linux up at all, you've more than likely ran into Ubuntu. It's probably the most popular Linux distribution, known for its user-friendly approach with tons of features and extensive community support. While Ubuntu is derived from Debian originally, it offers a unique combination of user-friendly tools, pre-installed, a rich app store, and software ecosystem. It has a great community, and it's constantly being updated. With a long-term support edition, its ease of use and accessibility have made Ubuntu into a juggernaut. With a big company behind it called Canonical, it has played a significant role in bringing users to Linux and giving it to a broader audience. A big thing that makes Ubuntu stand apart from the rest of the Linux distributions is its high focus on expanding to different markets, including the things like the desktop, which we mostly use it on. It also has a big server environment space. Lots of people using it for servers nowadays. We also have it on smartphones, tablets, IoT devices, and even embedded devices. With things like Ubuntu Touch and Ubuntu Core, there's many different editions all available for any type of user, which really sets Ubuntu apart because a big company like Canonical can focus on all those ecosystems without actually fragmenting itself. Again, it has become a juggernaut in the Linux space. A lot of people use that distribution, or at least get started with it as their first introduction to Linux. Now, there are an obscene number of different forks from Ubuntu, including their own different versions of desktops that have come along over the years. You can see here things like Ubuntu GNOME Edition, Kylin, Mate, and so on. Even Pop! OS is based off of it, one of my favorite Linux distributions. And one last distribution I want to talk about before we get to numbers is Fedora. Fedora is another popular Linux distribution. This one is really known for its rolling release model and is a choice of Linus Torvalds, the creator of Linux himself, uses Fedora, another great Linux distribution. You're probably getting worn out by all the choices, but this Linux distribution also has a variety of editions with cutting-edge features. This one's known as being at the forefront of development in Linux. Also has a huge commitment to open source with a robust infrastructure, which a lot of developers tend to love. It's one of the most chosen distributions amongst developers. Linus himself uses it. The interesting part of Fedora is it serves as an upstream project for Red Hat Enterprise Linux, one of the leading enterprise Linux distributions that we mentioned at the beginning. It's really a testing ground for technologies that may eventually be included in RHEL. And because of its cutting-edge features, commitment to open source, and developer adaptation, this Linux distribution is great for system admins, organizations who want a modern, reliable Linux distribution. So now that we've covered a lot of distributions here, we can scroll out and see just how many different distros there are. Counting through this entire mind map, I got around 560 Linux distributions. That's right, 560. And those are only the ones that are in this mind map. We saw distro watch with around 272 active, or at least being followed, but that's a whopping number, and is one of the reasons it can be an overwhelming process to pick a distribution as a newcomer. There's just a variety of options, technical jargon, different use cases, a steep learning curve once you're coming from a different operating system, a fear amongst people to create the wrong choice, or even after they make the right choice or seemingly the right choice, they tend to distro hop. That seems like a disease in itself. Just kidding. We love you distro hoppers out there. With 30 years of development in Linux and Linux distributions and a great open source philosophy, its continual stability and reliability, security, and no telemetry The cost here on Linux is free to use and distribute, making it an overall wonderful operating system and kernel that you can start using today. Don't get stuck behind all the compelling choices and wide range. Pick from one of the ones we discussed today, and then experiment by becoming a distro hopper yourself. I hope you enjoyed this video and review of some of the Linux lore and history here behind many distributions and how and where they came from, including a little review on some of them. Catch me in a great community on Discord, and I'll catch you in another video. Thanks for watching. Linux can be hard to understand, but I take the most commonly used terms, commands, and subjects in Linux, and I break them down into simple to read documents, including Linux terms, flashcards, a checklist, a cheat sheet, and a mind map. And if you're ready to level up your Linux experience and knowledge, go to learn.savvynik.com now and get access to these sheets.